Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How are we, guys? Hope you're well out there. I've already got the look in at the teams. Bit later of a preview tonight. Was out going for a bit of a cruise with some of the boys. A little Thursday night cruise around. Got a little Slurpee. It was just great stuff. But yeah, we've got some good news. Certainly Zach Fisher coming back is good. We'll have a look at it. But, Max Gawn hasn't returned. There was a bit of talk about that. Caldwell is in. A few people were like, oh, is he out with a calf and missed training, all this type of stuff. So he's in. But we'll go through the teams in a moment. I've got a massive knockout final in my draft league. So I've copped Duggan, Taranto. So I've got a couple of things I've got to square away for that as well. But back to work this week too, and I tell you what, after 2 weeks of really not doing a stack and staying up late, doing whatever you want, that 7:20 a.m. alarm really slaps you across the face. And Monday morning was rough. It was cold. If you're in Victoria, mate, it was cold, windy, just that extra bit of ice in the air, and yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one, and honestly, like, we're into the routine now, and it's great to be back. I really like my job. It's great to see everyone, but I don't reckon I would have gone to bed before 1 a.m. Maybe occasionally went to bed before, like, around midnight on the holidays, but probably fell asleep around 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I remember thinking in the last little bit of the holidays, I was like, oh, I should get back into a decent routine, go to bed early, wake up at a decent time. I was like, no way. Like, why would I do that? When you're at work and you got a work night, you're like, oh, what I wouldn't do to have a sleep in tomorrow, what I wouldn't do to just stay up an extra hour if I want. So I certainly wasn't going to get old disciplined until I had to. So, we paid a bit of a price for it. I was just letting that shower water hit me on Monday morning. I was like, please, just bring me to life. I need something. Save me, hot water system. I was in all sorts. But speaking of showers, I've mentioned this one before, but it came up again on the live stream. And I've recently discovered polls on the live stream. Didn't know you could do them. Anyway, put this one out there. Showers in the dark. 70% said no. Now, I'm saying yes. Big yes for me. Now, it's got to the point where I'll have a shower in the dark every single time. Unless it's, daylight, obviously. But I'm all for it. So, would love your opinions. I mean, is that really reflective of how it is? Do 70% of people just not rate the dark shower? But anyway, we're covering the big topics today. But let's take a look at these sides. There is some bad news for mine in a rookie being dropped, which hurts me big time. Hinge coming back is good for my draft. Some big omissions there for the Dons. That's interesting. Clark gets dropped, which is not too crucial. I mean, it's a bit of cover for me, but it's not crazy crucial. Treloar comes back, which will help a few. And then, of course, we don't have too much relevant there unless you've still got Sexton. McGuinness will come in, so he'll have a job to play on Dacos. McStay is back. How crazy is that one? Don't think there was anything too... And here it is, Shonmaker being dropped. That's a killer. And Filippo being injured. Some would have brought him in. I mean, that is an absolute killer as well. Waterman out might hurt some. Yo out will certainly cert. Wowee, where are we at? Will certainly hurt some people out there, but basically I had a beautiful plan worked out for my trades, and it did require Shonmaker getting to at least 230 or 240, so he really just needed to play one more game minimum, and that hasn't happened. I mean, hell, I'll take a late inclusion, please, but we might be able to work around it. I don't know, but SuperCoach is really testing me. Every time over the last 3-4 weeks, I've felt like I've got this plan that's going to work beautifully. Something out of the ordinary has just screwed it over, which is very frustrating. But Zach Fisher comes back. That would have hurt me beyond all else. I would have had to have traded him. If he didn't come back, it would have been in all sorts. So Darcy comes back, which is going to, of course, affect Luke Jackson. But yeah, I think the Shonmaker thing is frustrating, but hopefully he could be back in a week or two. You just never know. Could be a matchup thing, but the main priority was certainly getting Fisher back in. Otherwise, we would have had all sorts. I do not want to look at that score anymore. I'm sick of it. Ready to put last week well and truly behind me. So we can switch a few things around. We can put old mate Dowling in there. Now, obviously, we're still pretty light on in that forward line. Now, Tholstrup's been named on the extended bench, which he's been pretty impressive. So I'd be surprised if he is dropped. But if so, we've got some issues because I don't have the greatest coverage. So basically, my plan, right, is the reason Shonmaker's important is because I want McKercher as my D7. I want to bring in Merritt for Fraser and Sarong for Dowling. So in essence, Rowell will be my M9. Then I want to bring in Curnow for Tholstrup. Or Jones, but I'd say likely Tholstrup. And then that'd give me Curnow as my F7. Now, the reason Shonmaker is important because I can free up a bit of money elsewhere because Clark, he's 258. So, there's potential that I can play around with the dual positions and might be able to work it out, and maybe Shonmaker being dropped isn't as crucial. But that's, in my head, that's the way it's looking. To be honest, there wasn't too many main points out of the live stream that were out of the ordinary. I think, people talking about who to bring in, Dylan Moore, Caldwell, that type of thing. They're definitely the play. I think people were asking about cheaper options in the forward line. You look at someone like Jeremy Cameron, Charlie Curnow is pretty cheap. Jai Simpkin, not the worst option either. He's been a bit up and down, but pretty solid dual position as well. And Toby Green, if you really want to shake it up, he looked like he was back in form. So, and yeah, look, otherwise, I didn't take any notes on the live sesh because there wasn't too much going on. It was really about getting a few of these players back and then building up with the trades. And look, I'll have 3 at the end of this week. So we're getting a bit fine, but what are we looking at in terms of VC and C? I think everyone will go Zach Merritt as the VC, and fair enough, Adelaide don't tag. Graham has been dropped, so all of a sudden there was talk that he might tag Butters, but all of a sudden I reckon that's worth a shout. Flanders is always worth a bit of a shout. He's every chance to go big every now and then. Bontempelli against the Cats, but you never quite know down here. Obviously Goulden and Neal are always good options. I'm almost looking... Merritt's so basic, it's not, I don't know. I mean, if everyone has him all good, if he goes big, you certainly don't want to miss on that. But yeah, anyway, I'm leaning towards Merritt, but we'll just wait and see. And look, it's good that Gawn was a chance to play this week. It sort of suggests that he's only, one more week away. So surely he's back next week. Jackson can come into that position there. We can get Curnow next week and we'll be complete, and then eventually Rankin will come back. And then, we're going to have a bit of an interesting situation with the cash flow, but I'll have a play around with that off the camera. But, honestly, it's just all about trying to build this side up, weigh up your priorities if you're going for leagues, weigh it up with how important it is to trade. I think it's more important to have a 23rd premium, maybe even a 24th if you can afford that, than trades in the bank. Try and build up and pick off those guys that are pretty cheap and pretty affordable. Even someone like Sarong, Warner's still at a good price, Hayden Young's at a good price. A few names like that. Even Tom Stewart, Tom Green, these are guys that have been out of form for a long time, but are actually bouncing back. Dan Houston's at a good price. So they're the ones you can probably have a bit of a think about, but we're going to have to cross our fingers a bit because it's going to come down to a little bit of luck in these last 5 or 6 weeks or however we got long left because, we've lost a few, so hopefully no more. But good luck for the week. I'll talk to you on Sunday.